first and foremost, let's admit that kanji dictionaries are awesome. Online ones, app ones, they're all great. Many of them at least should be good. You want to use ones that emphasize one of two things that you should be practicing anyway when it comes to kanji. And I think I've touched on this before meetings a couple times before, but we're going to go on and mention them again here anyway. So the two important things when it comes to kanji that I would talk about in any kanji crash course, which actually we will have at some point in the near future, are stroke order, which people butcher. People butcher all the time. They don't know what a disservice they're doing to themselves. Stroke order and radicals. And by radicals, there's a loose meaning to this, and there's a more technically correct meaning to radicals. So we'll just say the correct meaning. And I'm going to use both of them because honestly, the loose meaning here is just parts, right? So the parts of a kanji. So if you hear me say radicals, and I won't always use the technically correct way because I want to talk about the parts of the kanji. Technically though, the radical is the one part of the kanji that matters most. It gives you either the reading or it gives you the meaning of the kanji. Anyway, we don't need to get into a lot of those specifics right now, but I just want you to know that if I say that, what I mean are parts to a kanji. So any good dictionary is going to give you an opportunity to utilize one of these two skills to find the kanji you are looking for. I think we're just going to take one of these kanji down here. So let's take this one. Looks like this. And I'm drawing it correctly here, but let's say that you're not as comfortable. Wow, it doesn't look great on my graphics tablet. That's all right. Let's say you don't know the stroke order at this moment. Or at least maybe you do. Let's start with that you do know the stroke order first. So let's say you know stroke order, you're still getting used to radicals maybe. So you should have a drawing feature on your kanji lookup app, online dictionary, whatever it is. And I've got to use the mouse for this because it can't work with the pen apparently. So this is going to be really butchered a little bit. If I know my stroke order, that is, if I know how to write kanji correctly in the right stroke order, guys, can't emphasize that enough, then it's going to recognize just about any kanji I could possibly put in here. Look, it's right there. I didn't even draw it that well, but it got it. It got it, more or less. All right, it was one off, but it showed up among the results. I'm happy. If I don't have my stroke order correct, the chances of me finding what I want are very small. So let's say I don't have a good sense of stroke order yet. Maybe I have a bad technique or something. I'm thinking that this looks like that. And maybe I know Kuchi really well, so maybe I'll start with that in there. And I'm drawing this one correctly by accident. There we go. But look, it's nowhere in the results. It's not going to show up. It doesn't know what I'm trying to draw. So you've got to get stroke order down if you're going to go this way. And you'll want to go this way no matter what, even if you decide that's not how you're normally going to look up kanji. It doesn't matter. In general, stroke order is really important for kanji study. Don't underestimate how important that part is. A lot of people are really good at remembering kanji. They're horrible at writing it. And then I know they're going to struggle when it comes to looking up new kanji or getting used to or remembering new kanji they come across. So keep that in mind. Okay, but let's say stroke order is not your thing. You're still not quite getting it down yet, or you've tried stroke order and this is what you got. It's not giving you the results you hoped for. All right, we're going to go to radicals then. Here are all the bits and pieces, the little Lego blocks, as I like to think of them, that could make up any given kanji. And I want the radical. What radical do I want? Well, I'm looking at my kanji here, and let's say I know just enough about radicals that I'm aware that this is often even a kanji in itself, right? That's Michi or He or something like that, is what I'm thinking in my brain. And so I'm going to use that as my part to look up. We don't need to think of it as the radical right now, but we're going to think of it as the part of a kanji. So that part, let's see if we can find that in here then. And if I don't know my stroke order, that's okay. Let's say that I'm trying to assume I don't. So let's say I don't know how many strokes are to it, but I know there's probably between, well, it's got to be more than 3, right? And it's probably less than, let's say 5. I'm going to go with 6 just to be generous. So I only really need to look through these lines here for that particular kanji. Now, as it is, There it is, right there. It actually has 4 strokes to it. So I'm going to select that kid and notice what happens. One, after I select that, these all appear up top here. See that? So it's going to show me a bunch of potential options already, and I've only selected one part. But here's what else it's done. Notice all these gray things, all the ones that are grayed out. Those are ones that are never going to be, for our purposes here in this dictionary anyway, they're never going to be coupled with that part. I'll never have a kanji therefore that looks like that, for instance, or even let's see, or even what else? Maybe if I had something like that and that, we're not going to find that in this dictionary. So those are, that pars it down. It helps us par down which ones are possible. Now I know that that's mouth or kuchi or something like that, and even if I don't know what that is, I can take a pretty good guess that that also is between 3 and 5 characters. In fact, it is sitting right there at the 3 mark. So let's go on and select that one. By the way, you can see sometimes they look a little similar. How do I know which one it is? Well, I will tell you the difference between these in a second, but let's pretend we don't know what the difference is. We can try them both. I tried this one. Our result did not show up for that one. Let's uncheck that one and check this one instead. Oh, there it is. Now, the reality is that these are 2 different radicals. One of these is the mouth, and one of these is an enclosure. It would look like, it would not be written like that. It would be like that. It would enclose, it would be like a box around the whole kanji, or at least part of the kanji. So here it is. We found it, and that took only 2. We looked for that part, and look at that. We found our kanji. And now we can look it up, and oops, except I exited it. We want to search for it. And look at that, there it is. I can check here in the detail or links. I can check links or details. Here we go, I can go to links, kanji details. If I want the full blown out, it means it's red shoal, and it is an N1 level kanji, so I don't have to know this to pass my N3 level test if that's what I'm taking. I'm not right now. N3 is not so bad though. Let's see. And then some example words, etc., etc. So that's for, and the stroke order, look at that. They'll even show you how to write the darn thing. If you didn't know before, then you are given by hail Allah or whatever. This is terrific. They're gonna give us a chance now to get stroke order down. Hooray. That's wonderful. That's terrific. That's what we want. Turns out, by the way, Showa is where this kanji shows up the most often. I was born in the Showa era, if anyone cares to know, but I won't tell you when. Anywho, guys, that is how that works. If you want anything else or have more questions about it, feel free to comment below. Catch you next time.